Spiritual Life Center, transforming lives as we love, serve, and remember who we are. One heart, one mind, one soul at a time.
Divine hands are clearing our path. Divine flames glow brightly in the dark. Divine love is growing in our hearts. The tide of grace is bringing us back home. Divine hands are clearing our path. Divine flames glow brightly in the dark. Divine love is growing in our hearts. This tide of grace is bringing us back home.
The long, long search is ending now. So many of us waking. We're finding our way home somehow. All the old ways are changing. Divine hands are clearing our path. Divine flames glow brightly in the dark. Divine love is growing in our hearts. This tide of grace is bringing us back home. Divine hands are clearing our path.
Divine flames glow brightly in the dark.
Divine love is growing in our hearts.
This tide of grace is bringing us
back home.
We have walked courageously and searched so long for meaning. But now it's time to let grace be in charge of new beginnings. Divine hands are clearing our path. Divine flames glow brightly in the dark.
Divine love is growing in our hearts.
This tide of grace is bringing us
back home.
Divine hands are clearing our
path.
Divine flames glow brightly in the dark.
Divine love is growing in our hearts.
This tide of grace
is bringing us back home.
I am Angelika from the cosmos. For those who don't know me, it is so good to connect any way that we can. When I asked for something very special to share with you, this meditation of blessings came. And to give credit also to Dr. Joe Dispenza, as I included a few lines from his guided meditations as well. So see if you can relax your body a little more. Your shoulders, your neck, your head. And bring one hand to your heart and the other to your face or your head. Focus your attention on your breath and follow the breath through the airways into the belly and let it out with a sigh. Take another big breath and exhale with a sound. And one more deep inhale and exhale with any sound that feels good to you. Let us connect with our guides, masters, angels, Christ, our true divine nature, or the formless presence, whatever is most natural to you. And let us together, as one mind and heart, invoke a great blessing power for our own well-being and that of all beings in this world. As you breathe deeply while focusing on your heart center, feel the power of the presence responding to you as you open more and more and receive it fully. Bless your body that it be lifted to a new mind, to a new energy. Bless your life that it be an extension of your divine mind. Bless your past that it turn to wisdom. Bless the challenges in your life that they initiate you into greatness. Bless your future that your life purpose is fulfilled. Bless your soul that it wakes you from this dream and that it be your guide. And bless the benevolent energy of the unseen to move in you, to stir in you, to flow through you and all around you. Bless you that the sea of awareness becomes your mind, that its nature becomes your nature, that its will becomes your will, and its love for life becomes your love for life, to delight with you in the depths of your being. Now, from that alignment, holding each other's hands and raising them up in a gesture of blessing, let us give a blessing together, empowered as one mind, one heart, to our friends, family, our community, humanity, and our deepest gratitude and special blessings for our ancestors. They paved the way, and their strength lives in us. And let us reach out through the web of life that connects us to bless all those in need of care, all those experiencing fear or lack of any kind. As we engage our hearts, we activate our compassion and divine intention, our power of aligned will to send peace to every being. And we are grateful for all that we receive in each moment, with each breath, the breath of life, with each second, the sustenance of the universe which we are made of. And as we raise our hands Again, in blessing, together we breathe in and exhale with a soft whisper from the heart. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for this life. Thank you.
Peace be within me. Peace be all around me. Peace be within me. Peace for all beings everywhere. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, 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 Om. Peace be before me. Peace be behind me. Peace all around me. Peace for all beings everywhere. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, 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 Om. Peace be above me. Peace
So, welcome to my favorite church under the sky. And there may be a few bullfrogs and a few red-winged blackbirds and some mosquitoes as part of the music. So this is really something. I am sitting here seemingly talking to myself. I'm actually talking to nature, but I am talking to you in a future time, all in different locations. This is quite amazing when you think about it. How free can we be? Let's have some fun together. So the title of my talk today is What is Freedom? And here is a small hint. And I could just stop here. No more words necessary. But we'll have some satsang anyways, right? Satsang means to gather in the company of truth. It is becoming increasingly clear to me that nothing is quite as it seems on any level. So I've been camping here for the past few days. I wanted to make it so perfect for you. And I've done already several takes. But each time gets better. And I'm learning more about all this technology. And it's kind of fun. You might wonder why I chose this topic, especially in a time of greater restriction than we have ever known, at least in this country. I feel now is especially interesting to contemplate what freedom really means in our lives. And when a human being talks about freedom, it is kind of paradoxical in itself. We are both free and not free at the same time. It's so confusing, but I'll try my best to unpack some of these questions. But you have to do your own research and your own experiments as well. So in order to explore what freedom is, we have to take a deep dive into what it is not, and the nature of the mind itself. And then, which mind are we talking about? The relative mind, the personal human mind, or the absolute mind, the divine mind, which we both have access to. So let's take a look at the human mind. I always say pictures are better than words. And this might as well be in German or Chinese. When we are so focused on the problem, the solution escapes us, regardless of nationality. And here I want to share some quotes with you. This one is by George Carlin. Well, if crime fighters fight crime and firefighters fight fire, what do freedom fighters fight? Then one by Søren Kierkegaard. People demand freedom of speech as a compensation for the freedom of thought, which they seldom use. And by Mike Tyson, real freedom is having nothing. I was freer when I didn't have a cent. And aren't we all familiar here in the West with having too many things and being burdened by our possessions? And great examples of this kind of freedom are St. Francis of Assisi. He left his father's home, very wealthy merchant, and he renounced everything to find the freedom in the divine, to be in love with God, to serve that one. And then there was Peace Pilgrim. And Peace Pilgrim was an elderly lady who, after retirement, set out to walk for peace. And all she had was a tunic, a toothbrush and a hairbrush, and she just ate when she was offered food, and she slept when she was offered a bed. And often she slept on the side of the road wherever she could. So that is quite an amazing display and demonstration of freedom, regardless of outer circumstances. So it is also good to look at different viewpoints on this vast subject. And I invite you into a state of being soft and flexible. Let the mind free fall. Let it expand into new vistas. We can look at freedom from a divine perspective and a human perspective. We also need to look at the paradox and the unexplainable. And these words are, of course, just pointers. Each of us needs to contemplate deeply and unravel the untruth from the truth and become clear. It is an inside job. As you can see, there isn't much help from the outside. It's becoming increasingly hard to know what is what in today's barrage of conflicting information and overload. So I grew up in Germany, in a country that was full of fences, walls, rules, and regulations. And as a matter of fact, during my childhood, there was a wall right through the country, right through the middle of buildings in Berlin. And even as a child, to me, all these rules and limitations were very painful to my spirit. I felt suffocated. And I decided if freedom isn't to be found in Germany, because I was a very determined young woman, in my early 20s, I sought it elsewhere and I moved to Alaska. And in Alaska were all the free, wide open spaces that I had dreamed of my whole life. And I was so grateful. And I taught myself hang gliding. But I had a dream one night. And in the dream, I was flying my hang glider and my mom was on the ground. And just like when you fly a kite, she had the string to my hang glider, and I could only fly as high and as far as my mom would let me. And from this dream, even though I was fairly young and inexperienced, I realized that I was really not free, even in this beautiful freedom of the wilderness and this amazing country. And the internal limitations, the programs that I grew up with and the ancestral patterns were still inside of me. So I did recognize that. But at the time, of course, I didn't know what to do with it. And so throughout this talk, I would like to do a few periods of reflection with you. And I invite you to close your eyes for a few moments and just think about what it is you did in your life to try to be more free or to get away from something that felt limiting. So I want to talk about imprisonment, which is a very interesting human phenomenon. We imprison people as punishment. In truth, we are imprisoned internally as well, but it is the hardest thing for human beings to have their freedom limited. And I think it is because we can never forget our true nature. It is so powerful that our birthright is freedom, but it is a divine freedom that is married with wisdom, with peace, with truth, with responsibility, with all kinds of beautiful qualities. So it isn't the freedom that a rebel might seek. And I certainly had become a rebel in my upbringing, fighting against the fences and the rules and regulations outwardly. But I didn't find freedom that way. So my favorite picture, and I've showed it to you before, I'm sure, but I go to that one often. And sometimes it is all we can do just to remember that this too shall pass, as do all things. And for me, the real solution for all my pain and suffering from feeling suffocated and limited and restricted has been to remember my divine birthright, to remember that no matter what is going on in my life, the divine doesn't require me to suffer or to be in fear or to be downtrodden. I am a divine creation, a sovereign being in God. And I am finally willing to fully claim that. And it's more fulfilling than anything I could ever imagine in my wildest dreams. So what is the pathway to true freedom? I think we learn lessons through the restrictions that we encounter in our human journey, through the lack of freedom, where it really is. And through all the trials and restrictions, we mature emotionally and mentally and spiritually, and we clear our shadow. It is the subconscious, hidden patterns that are deep in the mind that make us not free, and they reflect and create, or they miscreate in our lives. This time on Earth might be like a birth canal for humanity, the big squeeze, the frightful night that comes before the great transformation. So freedom can be confusing when we look at the human mind, because there can be so much mental chatter, and it's creating what we really don't want often. So why does the mind have that freedom to go anywhere it wants and makes it feel so real? And why does it go to where we don't want it to go? And how can we stop that? Those are really good questions. So there seems to be an incessant chattery voice inside of our heads. It just never stops. Even at night, it keeps chattering about this and that. So Yogananda said, and many wise ones, that thoughts are not individually rooted. Our thoughts are not our thoughts. It's just that we think they are ours and we think they are true. We give them a lot of feeling and importance. And there's a story of Gandhi. He willingly allowed himself to be imprisoned to make a stand for freedom for his country. Now that is interesting, as well as the story of Nelson Mandela, who was imprisoned and tortured for decades, and yet he somehow internally had so much power and strength that even in those extreme circumstances, he found and never let go of the freedom of spirit. And look what he was able to do with that. So in prison, after lunch someday, Gandhi had some murderous thoughts. And Gandhi was a peaceful man. He did not cultivate such thoughts. And so he was really puzzled by this. And then it later came to his attention that the cook that had prepared the meal was actually a murderer. And so Gandhi had picked up the vibration, the thoughts of this cook in the food. And similarly, stress thoughts from the past or thoughts of a scary future are undigested experiences, traumas, memories, fears of those who raised us even. So they may not even be ours, but we take it on. And we seem to be out of control with a mind that does these strange things. So as Matt Kahn puts it, we have an overstimulated and inflamed nervous system. And from that state of mind, we can't see the solution. So I will show you this picture again. It's valuable. Perhaps we can have a laugh and not be so serious all the time. So awareness and presence, breath, which brings us into this moment, and compassion are all wonderful qualities that will help with this rogue mind of ours. And also to meet all that arises on the very basic level of sensations. So for a moment, I also would like to talk about a beautiful freedom that is in our mind. And it is a freedom that we can create any beautiful world, any beautiful thing, any beautiful state with our thoughts and feelings. My ideas of freedom have shifted quite a bit, and they evolved. I turned from a very confined young person into a rebel against confinement, and then into a mystic, someone who no longer needs or seeks to rebel against the world as it is, or against other people's ideas. It reminds me very much of gardening. So what is a really good way to weed the weeds in the mind? For me, it is always starting with awareness, to be completely present and willing to meet whatever arises in the moment. And it is not always easy, and it is not always comfortable at all. So I would like to invite you to close your eyes for a few moments and reflect on your own journey, looking at your life and all that you experienced and learned. What does freedom mean to you now? So here is a little dog wisdom. I'll translate it for you. Man says, a virologist said on TV that the best weapon against the virus is a healthy common sense. Dog says, then you are lost. Most of you are unarmed. So for me, it seems really valuable to remember who I truly am. A vast, free, divine creator being. And to establish my identity in that evermore. Each day more. I cannot get enough of that remembrance. I want to serve that. And to claim our birthright, our true freedom, is the process here in this human experience. So let's look at the attributes of freedom from within. When I let go of my ideas of how things should be, and when I drop the argument with life, when I face that within me, which was not free, all that energy that was tied up in past trauma and hurt, I started to experience a different kind of freedom. And this came from deep within. And let's take a look at what is needed for this greater liberation. One thing is radical honesty. Do you really trust the divine, the universe? Do you really trust life? Do you really even trust yourself in the deepest sense? Or do you associate loss of comfort, relationships, material security, or any other loss with abandonment, or even a perceived unworthiness? So once we see what is deep within us that is not free, we can bring the light of our wisdom, the wisdom of our heart, our compassion, and our neutral, observing, compassionate quality to it. And I find that the load gets lighter and lighter and lighter as I practice this all the time now. The third point is taking full responsibility. It's a radical forgiveness. And it seems very difficult for us humans to realize that we are actually always looking into a mirror. That everything in our lives, every character seemingly out there, everything we see and notice are actually reflections of what is within us. It's all an interactive play. As quantum physics discovered, there is no objective reality. It is all influenced by the expectations of the observer. So you could say that would be intention, our intention. And what is intention is the power of our thoughts, the clarity, the quality of our thoughts, whether they're negative or positive, and the feelings, strong emotion. And so Dr. Joe always emphasizes to create a new life, a new future, a new possibility, we need to go to the unknown places. We need to go make a quantum leap from the known, from what we've done in the past, to the unknown. We need to go out into complete emptiness and space, the field of all possibilities, and from there, not create but attract with the power of our thoughts and the power of our hearts and emotions. And when they become so clear and strong and focused like a laser, really anything is possible, just as Jesus demonstrated, being able to turn water into wine and walk on water and heal the sick and raise the dead. What makes it confusing is that even that which we are not aware of, the deeply subconscious content, outpictures in our lives. And what we see in the world at large is the content of our collective mind. And it's the content of all of humanity of all time. It's the Akashic record. So it really will take a quantum shift in our consciousness to create a new reality. But it could happen very quickly if enough of us are making that shift, if enough of us get put our minds and hearts together for a greater possibility. I'm ready. How about you? And so the more of us are able to stay in peace and go into total forgiveness for everything we see in this world, all the confusion, all the madness, the more we start healing the collective illusion, the collective error in humanity's mind, not just our own. We are doing the work we came here to do. This is the time. And I often think about that when it's all said and done, we'll have a good laugh together when we realize that our suffering had all been a big misunderstanding about the nature of reality and the nature of our own divinity. And then forgiveness will automatically happen. And we forgive ourselves and each other for simply misunderstanding. And when this attitude becomes firmly embedded within our consciousness, everything frightening or chaotic out there becomes an opportunity to heal. It is another assignment of what is next in line to forgive and heal. How else would we know what is deep in our minds still in the unconscious unless it is being reflected back to us from the outside? So I want to take a quick look at freedom from a divine perspective. It's so free that it allows every possible thing to be experienced. It's kind of a terrifying freedom. It allows all of it equally. My revised edition of the meaning of freedom is to be able to meet life as it is, to drop wanting it to be different, or to even want myself to be different. And here is the paradox again. At the same time, I can take action against injustice, or I can be of service to others, but then it is from a different place. It's from a place of inner freedom. And that makes the quality of the action very, very different. So I would like to read you a little excerpt from the Bhagavad Gita, a Hindu scripture. And this is Krishna speaking. I alone am real, looking out, amused from deep within the eyes of every creature. I am the object of all knowledge, father and mother of the world, the source of all things. I am the goal, the root, the witness, home and refuge, dearest friend, creation and annihilation, everlasting seed and treasure. I am the radiance of the sun. I open or withhold the rain clouds. I am immortality and death. I am being and non-being. I am the self, seated in the heart of every creature. I am the origin, the middle and the end that all must come to. I am always with all beings. I abandon no one. And however great your inner darkness, you are never separate from me. Let your thoughts flow past you calmly. Keep me near at every moment. Trust me with your life, because I am you more than you yourself are. Let's take a deep breath. Let's breathe that one into our cells. And perhaps this is the gift of this crazy time here on Earth. Perhaps we just get fed up with the way it's been and the way it is right now. Perhaps it makes us dream. It makes us dream up something different, something better. But it takes all of us together. And for me, my inner state is a priority. I really need to tend to my inner garden, because all outer circumstances change constantly, and they are mostly not under my control. And most of all, I no longer give fear that unchecked entry and landing place in my being. I am simply aware and present in a neutral, curious, and spacious way. True freedom is to walk this journey with courage. It is when the love is so great that it willingly takes on the limitation of form. It is when the compassion is so great that it willingly takes on the care of another, even at our own risk. True freedom is when wisdom is so great that it willingly takes on great limitation so it can make a stand for something better. True freedom is to be so free that we play in a human form that is seemingly born, has experiences of pain and joy, and then dies. True freedom is to fully show up for all the ways that life squeezes us, limits us, molds us, so we can grow stronger, so we can evolve in consciousness into the mind of God, where we came from and where we really always are, forever. So as I make friends with the unknown, and from that clear, open space, I can set a new intention for this planet, for all life on Earth, and I give others the freedom to experience the world that they wish to experience. So take a look. Would you like to come with me? The ride is free, and your ticket is letting go of any limiting ideas of who and what you are. And to take heart, and to keep up the good work, and all is well. And with that message from my heart to yours, wherever we find ourselves physically, with great love and great blessings. Until next time, Namaste.
Spiritual Life Center.